Back in 2008, listen to this. A 19-year-old out of Kansas State got scooped up with the #2 overall pick in the NBA draft. This was a kid fresh off one of the most ridiculous freshman seasons college basketball had ever seen, and people were already buzzing. And hold up, it wasn't just hype. Some folks genuinely believed he could end up better than the guy taken first overall. But by the time his story unfolded, things had gone way left. He suited up for 7 different NBA teams, took his talents overseas to China, and still couldn't find stability. There were multiple arrests, rehab stints, and personal battles that kept piling up. Then life hit even harder. He lost his mother to cancer, and that pain cut deep. At one point, he was on a podcast, breaking down in tears, saying he was exhausted from trying to find real, genuine people. Yeah, that's how Michael Beasley went from certified bucket to a walking warning sign. So let's rewind. Michael Beasley was born in Cheverly, a small town in Prince George's County, Maryland. His mom, Fatima Smith, held it down and raised him along with his 4 siblings, mostly on her own. And listen, someone close to the family once said something that really sticks with me. They pointed out that when you've got a 6'9", 230-pound teenager by 10th grade, you probably need a strong father figure around, because without that guidance, things can drift. And in Beasley's case, they did. That absence played a role in some of the trouble he got into early on. But basketball found him quick. Growing up, Beasley ran with one of the top AAU squads in the country at the time, the PG Jaguars. And trust me, they weren't just good, they were dominant. He won multiple national titles with that squad, playing alongside another future superstar, Kevin Durant. Yeah, KD and Beasley, they go way back, growing up in the DC area. Their bond would later turn into one of those legendary what-could-have-been basketball stories. Beasley himself has said meeting Durant completely shifted his path in the game. KD pushed him into the gym, showed him how to really think basketball, and sharpen that competitive edge. But even with that influence, Beasley's journey was messy from day one. This man went to 6 different high schools. 6! Let that sink in. At National Christian Academy, he was already dropping 30 a game as a freshman. Then he moved to Riverdale Baptist and still put up 28 a night as a sophomore. After that, he landed at the powerhouse Oak Hill Academy for his junior year, averaging 20 per game there. The talent, obvious. The discipline, that was the issue. His coach at Oak Hill, Steve Smith, actually suspended him for tagging his name on multiple lockers across the school, and Beasley later admitted he did it just because he thought it was fun. Smith gave him one last shot to clean it up and earn his way back. He told him straight up, "Finish the year with perfect behavior and you're good." 2 days later, Beasley signed his name in black ink on the principal's truck. Yeah, you can't make this up. As one person put it, he'll absolutely test your patience. You look at him physically and think he's a grown man who should have it all figured out, but in reality, he often made decisions that said otherwise. Still, despite all that chaos, he made it to Kansas State, and that one year, historic, doesn't even cover it. He dropped 26.2 points per game, 3rd in the nation, and led the entire country with 12.4 rebounds. Those numbers, the best any Big 12 player had put up in a single season. He racked up 866 total points and 408 rebounds, ranking 3rd and 2nd all-time among freshmen in NCAA history. And it didn't stop there. He led the nation with 28 double-doubles. He also had 3 40-point games and 22 games where he went for at least 20 and 10. That 28 double-double mark, it broke the freshman record previously held by Carmelo Anthony, who had 22 at Syracuse. By the end of it, he was named both Big 12 Player of the Year and Freshman of the Year. And get this, he did it right after Kevin Durant had swept those same awards the year before. Oh, and listen to this. He also walked away as the McDonald's All-American Game MVP. Yeah, Beasley took that MVP over names like Derrick Rose, James Harden, O.J. Mayo, Kevin Love, Blake Griffin, and DeAndre Jordan. And get this, he was fueled by the fact that ESPN only ranked him 6th, and he took that personally. But here's the twist. Even at the absolute peak of his college takeover, the warning signs were already there. Scouting reports weren't quite about it either. According to Draft Express, the 6'10" forward had concerns tied to his attitude, focus, and off-court behavior. Fast forward to June 26, 2008. Beasley gets selected second overall by the Miami Heat. Derrick Rose went number 1, and Russell Westbrook came off the board at 4. Now look at the company around him. Rose, Westbrook, Kevin Love, Brook Lopez, all guys who built long, decorated NBA careers. Beasley was supposed to be right in that tier. But he wasn't, and the issues, they started before he even played a single regular season game in Miami. No hesitation, he wasted zero time getting into trouble. At his very first official NBA event, he already crossed the line. According to CBS Sports' Zach Harper, Beasley was hit with a $50,000 fine tied to an incident during the 2008 Rookie Transition Program. He, along with Mario Chalmers and Daryl Arthur, violated league rules by bringing women into their rooms. And yeah, it got worse. Hotel staff reported the smell of marijuana, and they were only alerted because the smoke alarm went off around 2 a.m. Now, here's the part that makes you pause. Beasley actually slipped out of the room, leaving Chalmers and Arthur to deal with the fallout. Eventually, Miami president Pat Riley forced him to come clean about his involvement. Let that sit for a second. The number 2 pick, the guy expected to be the future of the franchise, was already making headlines for the wrong reasons before training camp even began. And Miami? That wasn't a place for growing pains. This was one of the most intense, no-nonsense environments in the league. He walked into that locker room at 19, right in the middle of Dwayne Wade's prime, with championship expectations in the air. That situation demanded results immediately. Meanwhile, Beasley was still figuring out who he even was. Pat Riley, the man in charge, genuinely tried to steer him in the right direction. When Beasley first got to Miami, Riley advised him to keep things simple, buy a modest 2-bedroom condo, but Beasley didn't take that advice. Later on, he even admitted he should have listened. He said if he could do it all again, he would have followed Riley's guidance. Riley told him to get something small, just enough space for him and a room for his mom when she visited, and everyone else, they could figure it out themselves. But Beasley went the complete opposite direction. His reasoning? He said he grew up in an apartment and felt like he needed more space, so when he got to Miami, he bought a 6-bedroom house. Not just that, he had 3 dogs and moved 4 of his friends in with him. Now think about that for a second. He wasn't just paying for himself, he was covering the entire lifestyle for everyone around him. Between the house and his entourage, the expenses stacked up fast. And Pat Riley noticed. Within just 1 month of his NBA career, Beasley was already $200,000 in debt. On the court, though, it wasn't all bad, let's be fair. He stepped in as a starter during his rookie season and showed flashes of why he was drafted so high. In fact, he played well enough to earn a spot on the all-rookie first team. But even then, there was always that feeling hanging over him, like this wasn't the full version of what he could have been. That gap between potential and reality, it never left. And former coach David Fizdale later shared a moment that says a lot. He recalled a time during that rookie year, not to call Beasley out, but one day in Vegas, they literally had to drag him out of bed just to get him to the gym. And while all that was happening, Russell Westbrook was already in that gym for 2 hours, drenched in sweat and locked in. That contrast right there, yeah, that became the story of Michael Beasley's entire career. A guy blessed with once-in-a-generation talent, but who seemed to resist the grind needed to unlock it truly. After Miami got bounced in the first round of the 2009 playoffs, more cracks started to show. Reports came out that Beasley, along with fellow rookie Mario Chalmers, had been fined multiple times during the season for breaking team rules. Then the summer of 2009 hit, and this is where things got really serious. On August 21, 2009, Beasley tweeted something that made people stop scrolling. He wrote, "Why do I feel like the whole world is against me? Back on my FTW, I can't win for losing." And just a few hours later, he posted something even darker. "Feeling like it's not worth living. I'm done." Not long after that, his account disappeared. Those tweets, that was more than frustration. That was a cry for help. But at the time, a lot of people brushed it off as just another headline in the Beasley saga. Even back in 2009, he checked himself into rehab amid concerns about substance use. Later, speaking on the Aura platform, he opened up about what he was really going through. He admitted he didn't even understand his emotions back then. He said he was dealing with depression, anxiety, stress, and confusion all at once, and because he couldn't process it, it all came out as anger. Now on the court, he still managed to put together a full season as a starter in 2009-10. He averaged 14.8 points and 6.4 rebounds per game. Solid numbers. But behind the scenes, the Heat were thinking bigger, way bigger. On July 12, 2010, Miami made a move that said everything. They traded Beasley to the Minnesota Timberwolves for second-round picks in 2011 and 2014. And hold up, this part matters. That trade was about clearing cap space so Miami could bring in LeBron James and Chris Bosh while keeping Dwayne Wade. So yeah, the Heat gave up their number 2 overall pick after just 2 seasons for second-rounders. Not first-rounders, second-rounders. That's what the league valued Michael Beasley at by age 21. Minnesota was supposed to be his reset button, a fresh start, a clean slate. But even there, the conversation around him didn't change much. Team president David Kahn didn't sugarcoat it either. In a radio interview, he openly called Beasley young and immature, even mentioning his past marijuana use. He said Beasley promised he had stopped, and Kahn said he'd trust him as long as that stayed true. Still, the talent never disappeared. On November 10, 2010, Beasley dropped a career-high 42 points with 9 rebounds to beat the Sacramento Kings. He ended that season averaging 19.2 points per game. That put him in the top 20 scorers in the entire NBA. Think about that, 19 a night, top 20 in the league. And yet, the off-court problems kept stacking up. It was like watching storm clouds roll in again and again. In 2011, he got caught with 16.2 grams of marijuana under his passenger seat during a traffic stop. Then there was another incident, this time with a fan. During an exhibition game at Dyckman Park in New York, after getting heckled all game, Beasley shoved a fan in the face. And just when you thought things might settle, Phoenix entered the picture. On July 20, 2012, Beasley signed a 3-year, $18 million deal with the Suns. That wasn't small money, that was a real investment. That was the NBA basically saying, we still believe in your talent, even if they weren't fully sold on everything else that came with it. At his introductory press conference in Phoenix, Beasley made it clear. He said he was done with marijuana. He didn't, because despite everything he promised when he joined Phoenix, that marijuana issue, it never really left. Not even a year after telling everyone he was done, he was right back in trouble. Scottsdale police arrested him after finding what they believed to be marijuana in his car. Then, on September 3, 2013, boom, the Suns waived him. And yeah, that move came right after that arrest for suspected possession. That $18 million contract, gone after just 1 full season. The Suns' president of basketball operations even spoke on it. He said they put in real effort to help Michael succeed, but the organization had standards to uphold if it wanted to build a championship culture. And this is where things take a brutal turn. Because just 8 days later, on September 11, 2013, Beasley was back in Miami, the same team that once drafted him and then shipped him out for basically nothing. But this time, the story was completely different. He wasn't the guy anymore. He was a minimum contract pickup, sitting at the end of the bench behind LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh. Miami still made the finals in 2014, their 4th straight trip. And Beasley, he finally got his first taste of the finals in Game 5 against the San Antonio Spurs. But the moment didn't last long. The Heat lost that game and the series 4-1. From there, his NBA journey turned into a constant shuffle. Short-term deals, temporary stops. He signed a non-guaranteed contract with the Memphis Grizzlies, was waived, and on that very same day was off to China. He joined the Shanghai Sharks in the Chinese Basketball Association. And here's the wild part. He dominated. In the 2014-15 season, he averaged 28.6 points per game. Then in 2015-16, he turned it up even more, 31.7 points per game, and he won league MVP. Let that sink in for a second. 31 a night? MVP. But it wasn't happening in the NBA. The skill never disappeared. The opportunity in the league, that slowly faded away. He kept bouncing around Minnesota, Phoenix, then overseas again, followed by comeback attempts. Miami, Houston, Milwaukee, New York, and even the Lakers. 7 different teams over 11 NBA seasons, and every single time he stepped on the court, getting buckets was never the issue. Staying on the court, that was the real battle. In a 2022 interview with Hoops Hype, Beasley finally spoke on that frustration. He said people didn't disrespect him, they just overlooked what he actually did on the floor. He pointed to his per 36-minute numbers, saying they were all-star level across the board. And honestly, he wasn't wrong. He never averaged less than 15 points per 36 in any season. On 6 different occasions, he was over 20 points per 36, and once he even crossed 25 per 36. But here's the reality. Minutes tell the truth. If coaches don't trust you, you don't play. And when you don't play, your career fades. See, the basketball story always gets the spotlight. People followed his stats, his arrests, and his team changes, but not enough people paid attention to the man behind it all. Beasley later opened up about his father and the complicated truth behind their relationship as he was growing up. Learning that truth created distance between him and his mother. And then life hit again, because not long after, his mom was diagnosed with cancer. Fatima Smith, his rock, his constant, the one person who was always there, through every transfer, every draft moment, every headline. And when he lost her in 2018, something inside him broke. This was the woman he once called his everything. There was a time she showed up to every single game. She wasn't just support, she was his foundation. She was the one person who truly understood the weight he was carrying. And when she passed, whatever structure he had left, it collapsed. During his time with the Lakers, he missed half the season just to be by his mother's side as she battled illness. Eventually, the Lakers traded him to the Clippers, who let him go just days later. He chose family over the game, and the league, it kept moving like he was never there. Watching his mother fight cancer became something that pushed him to stay strong. He even said, "I don't like pity. She was being strong, so I was trying to be strong too." But after she passed in December 2018, things got darker in ways most people never saw. Every attempt at a comeback came with baggage, controversy, suspensions, rumors, unpredictable moments. What people didn't see was the loneliness that followed him through all of it. Then, in March 2022, he showed up on the Pivot podcast, and everything shifted. What was supposed to be about basketball turned into something much deeper. The conversation drifted away from stats and highlights and went straight into his personal struggles. And the emotion he showed, it caught the internet completely off guard. This was a man people had turned into memes, laughed at, written off for years, and now the pain was real, raw, and unfiltered. "I don't talk to anybody," Beasley admitted. He said he had reached out so many times that now he felt like he had to hold on to whatever dignity he had left. Sit with that for a second. He also said, "I know it's not sustainable, but who do I even go out with? I've been searching for real people for so long. I'm tired, bro." And behind the scenes, others painted an even heavier picture. Some sources claim that once he got into the NBA, there wasn't a single responsible adult consistently guiding him. Instead, people around him, family included, sometimes added pressure instead of support. That lack of a stable circle, that explains so much that stats and headlines never could. Beasley himself acknowledged the stigma around mental health, but said things are slowly changing. He pointed to players like DeMar DeRozan and Kevin Love for being open about their struggles. He said seeing guys he grew up with, guys he respected, speak out made it easier for him to open up too. Because when people you see as strong show vulnerability, it changes how you look at your own pain. But even with that awareness, the cycle didn't fully stop. As recently as February 2025, the pattern reappeared. Beasley was arrested at Manhattan Regional Airport after being found with marijuana while trying to board a plane. He had been in town for appearances tied to Kansas State's win over Kansas. Think about that, returning to the place where he was once celebrated like a legend, and leaving with another mugshot. Afterward, he addressed it publicly. He said he took full responsibility and was already focused on learning from it and making better choices. But here's the hard truth. He's been saying that same thing for nearly 20 years.
Then, in April 2026, Beasley sat down with Shannon Sharpe on the Club Shay Shay podcast and listened closely to how he was introduced. One of the most gifted scorers ever, Big 12 Player of the Year, Big 12 Freshman of the Year, McDonald's All-American Game MVP, Big 3 champion, back-to-back Big 3 MVP, one of the best one-on-one players the game has ever seen. That list, it says everything without saying the one thing you expect, because for all those accolades, not one of them says NBA All-Star, not one of them says NBA champion, not once does it say franchise player. Because the talent, that was never under debate. Everything around that talent fell apart. On the podcast, Beasley opened up unfiltered about his time in Miami, about LeBron, and about where things really went wrong. And listen to this, there's that story about cookies being banned on team flights. Most people thought Pat Riley made that call, and LeBron didn't like it at all. But Beasley added the twist, saying on Club Shay Shay that Eric Spoelstra was part of that decision too. Then he dropped something even heavier. He said that was the first time he saw an entire organization scared. From that moment on, they were walking on eggshells around LeBron. According to Beasley, everyone already knew LeBron was leaving. He also zoomed out and talked about the bigger issue, the system itself. Coaches are telling him to defend, but not really developing the scoring gift that made him special. Teams are moving him around instead of investing time in building him up. Beasley put bluntly, he said a lot of players from that era didn't have real player-focused coaching, and that hits deeper than it sounds. Then he went even further back, to AAU basketball. He said the game at that level changed because money got involved. Too many people are chasing profit instead of focusing on development, discipline, and love for the game. He even explained how some coaches profited from his talent while his own family was still struggling. Let that sink in. The system that was supposed to guide a young prodigy was taking from him instead. Now look at the comparison. It's impossible to ignore. Kevin Durant, who came up in those same DC gyms, became a billionaire-level superstar, two-time NBA champion, four-time scoring champ, all-time great. Russell Westbrook, drafted just 2 spots after Beasley, built an MVP career and made history by averaging a triple-double. Even Pat Riley later admitted it. He said they didn't exactly miss on Beasley, but the best player in that draft ended up being Westbrook. And that right there defines the whole story. Michael Beasley became one of the NBA's biggest what-if cases ever. But hold up, that label assumes everything was in his control, and that's not the full truth. This was a kid without a consistent father figure, a teenager who bounced through 6 high schools before he could even vote, a young star navigating AAU systems that often valued money over mentorship. Then suddenly, at 19, he's thrown into a win-now NBA franchise with millions in his pocket and no real guidance. Yeah, he made mistakes, he said that himself. He admitted he played a role in getting into trouble, but the system around him didn't exactly set him up to succeed either. His career turned into a cycle, team changes, suspensions, off-court headlines, and somewhere in all that noise, his cries for help got labeled as attitude problems. Even now, he's still hooping overseas and showing flashes of that same elite skill. In 2023, he played in the Big 3 League and reminded people what he can do. He averaged 21.6 points per game and won the Too Hard to Guard award. At 37 years old, he's still scoring like the game owes him something. So no, the tragedy of Michael Beasley was never about his ability. Nobody figured out how to keep him grounded while he was using it. And at the core of everything he said, there's a message bigger than basketball. Everybody's struggles matter. You matter. He said it himself. You're not alone in this. The walking bucket? He's still walking. The real question is, who's willing to walk beside him now?